All right, welcome to the Nadex Application and Strategy webinar series. My name is Daryl Martin. I'm with ApexInvesting.com. And before we start off on any Nadex sponsored webinar, what I like to do is make sure that you do have access to the disclosures. Obviously, all types of trading, investing involves risk. It may not be suitable for every investor. Make sure you know what you're doing before you do it, and that this is unique information presented by Apex Investing Institute. Also, one of the cool things on here on this part of the disclosure is that all instruments do involve risk, but the great thing is that they all have a capped defined risk, meaning you can never lose more than what you put up on your trade. Meaning you can't get a margin call, you can't lose more than what you initially risk on the trade. So that's especially today. I mean, if you're trading gold, it's an insanely massive move in less than a minute, 30 something points. So definitely it's good to have instruments that have capped risk. If you're in the futures, you could have really got slammed on that. One of the things I am going to suggest is that you check out ApexInvesting.com, hop over to our site, and sign in, and that way you'll be able to access the information. You just hop on, like I said, right to the domain right there, click on Get Free Access. As soon as you do that, you'll be able to log into the website. And this is where I'll be putting the recording of the webinar under Education, and then Webinar Recordings, and then it's under Bonus Webinars. So Series 3 is the newest set. Once that set gets filled up, I'll put Series 4. I'll also post them in the forum, and so you'll be able to, if you want to go there, into the forum section, you'll be able to find, all the videos we've ever posted, and you'll be able to put a Q&A and take advantage of that. If you're brand new, then definitely go here and check out two sections. One is the Nadex tutorial videos, and this goes into getting started. It goes into platform tutorials, spreads, binaries, the ABCs of everything. Okay, most of the videos in here are about 15 minutes long. And then if you want to see more advanced webinars, once you got the basics down, make sure you get them down, then check out these bonus webinars right here, because we go into, just a lot of little details and facets, like we're doing tonight, about, collecting premium. And we'll talk about what collecting premium is and how to take advantage of that. There's also another tool in here you can take advantage of, and that is the scanner. And so we'll be using this a little bit tonight as we talk about premium collection over on Nadex. And over on the binary scanner, I'll show you how to use that to help you quickly and easily find the contracts that you want to trade. And tonight, we'll be focusing, probably on euro, dollar, yen. If we see any trades, I'll definitely hop in on those. And I have the charts up on the other screen. But anyways, those are the two instruments that are open every single hour on binaries in the evening. And they they have expirations from 8 p.m. all the way till 5 p.m. the following day. And other instruments do have nighttime expirations. On the Forex pairs, you have 7 p.m., 11 p.m., 3 a.m. And we actually have to update our expiration calendar. So I just thought about that. We got to add that in, but we actually have an expiration calendar up here, and it's pretty helpful because you can go in on it and it will tell you what the expirations are. But like I said, we got to go in and update and make a dollar yen euro dollar FX table since they added all those additional expirations in. But lots of opportunities to trade, no matter what your schedule is, daytime, nighttime, doesn't really matter. There is an instrument you can go on. Now, if you don't have an account, I noticed a few of you said you don't even have a demo account yet. Let me show you where to get that. Hop on over to Nadex.com and click on Trading, Demo Trading Account. Okay, so it's Nadex.com, Trading, Demo Trading Account. Fill in your username, first name, last name, phone number, and email address. Click Apply for Demo. In a few seconds, you're going to have an email sent directly to you. It's going to have your password, and you'll be able to log in to your account. Okay? Once you log in, this is what you'll see. You'll have $25,000 of funding money to play with and do whatever with there. But what you probably want to do is go to My Account, My Suggestion, and go to the settings and update your password to one that you'll secure one that you'll remember. So that way you won't forget how to log in. Because otherwise you're gonna have some like random computer generated password and you'll forget what's on there. Another thing is under Preferences. A lot of people don't know about this. Make sure you choose Allow Multiple Order Tickets. Okay. Hit Set Preferences. That'll allow you to open more than one ticket at a time on the platform. And then just hit Set Preferences once you do that, and it'll lock it in. Okay, now what about a live account? For a live account, just click on Create Account, and then Start. And you can go from start to funded in literally as little as 5 minutes. It's pretty fast, pretty easy. It's only a $100 requirement to fund an account. One of the big benefits of funding an account now, one of the policies that they've rolled out, is that you can go in and open your demo, open a live account, fund that account with the minimum deposit of at least $100, and if you place one trade, Okay, it doesn't matter what the risk is. Doesn't matter if it's $3 or $97 or whatever. If you place one trade, then you're qualified then to have a permanent demo account. So after you've done that, now you can call any customer service rep at Nadex, and they will extend your demo out. Because the problem with the demo is it expires in 2 weeks, but this is how you can get it extended for life. So a lot of people don't know about that, and it's a pretty cool policy they just implemented and made that very easy for you to do. And it's definitely worth it because you're going to want a demo as you're learning how to trade. And even after you learn how to trade, you're going to be trying new ideas, new strategies, and it's a lot cheaper to try those. Experience is an expensive teacher in live trading. It's a lot wiser to do that inside your demo account while you're learning. Okay, so now let's get back on track. And what are we talking about tonight? Well, we're going to be going into premium collection. And what is premium collection? Well, premium is the time value in a binary. Okay, and it's literally just time value. And as I explain with the basics of binaries, you'll understand this more and more. And I'm even going to talk a little bit, something I haven't really went into a lot before on any of the previous webinars. I'm going to talk about actual pricing of a binary contract, where that price comes from. All right, but what we're going to be doing is talking about premium collection on binaries, and that means making money from time. And there's a big edge on it because it can move. If it stays flat, you can make money. You can be profitable. If it goes in your direction on the trade, you can be profitable. And even if it goes against you by a certain amount, you can still be profitable. So you got 3 or 4 scenarios. You could think it's going to go up, but it doesn't go at all. You could think it's going to go down a little bit. You could actually still be profitable on the trade. And depending upon what strike you select. And so that's a huge advantage of why somebody want to trade it. Because when you first look at it, it seems like that'd be a bad idea. And you'll see why somebody might think that's a bad idea. But the more you understand it, the more you're like, oh, this is actually pretty sweet. So we're going to talk about how to construct a premium collection binary strategy and some of the things that you need to consider whenever you're doing it. We're going to talk about the benefits, like I just talked about a few of them, like 3 out of 4 possibilities you could be profitable on the trade, and other factors that you want to look at when you're doing premium collection strategies. And we'll even talk about some examples of different strategies that I like to do. So as an example, let's go over here. Let's check out the U.S. yen right now. Okay. And I'm zooming in on one of my charts over here, trying to keep all this stuff separate, but we'll keep it easy, and I'll go back and I'll sort of unravel the trade for you here in a minute. But I want you to be able to sort of see a trade, and how it would work out, could potentially work out. Let's see. So if I go to U.S. yen, and I go and see, can I find a contract that's expiring? In this case, we'll say in less than an hour. And I'd like to find a contract that, let's see here, is below this price. And so you can open up the scanner. You can look at what prices are on there and see if there's anything that's going to work really well for you, or if there's not one that's going to work well for you. And I'll talk to you in just a minute about how to actually limit your choices on those binary contracts also. Let's see, and then I wanted to look. We'll look over at demo, see what's flowing through on demo. And because I know a bunch of your demo traders right now, we don't really see one. I'm just looking just to see if I can find a good trade. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Okay, so right now, I'm not really seeing a great contract, but this is actually probably one of the most important points I want to bring up to begin with, is the fact that when you're doing premium collection, okay, and I mean I can't even stress how important this is, and really this is anything on a binary contract. But when you're doing premium collection trades, the most important factor is what binary contract you choose to trade. It's not simply your buy or sell signal. Okay? It's literally what contract you choose when you're doing it. If you just go in and go, you know what, I got to buy, I'm going to buy, and you don't take into account, what's happening, then you're going to end up sort of setting yourself up for a loss because you don't know why you're choosing that contract. And even if you do know why, you need to make sure you're not forcing the trade, because as a trader, it can be so easy. I mean, any of you who have traded before, can you test it? So easy to sort of force that trade, right? You're like, oh man, I see it. I got a signal on whatever system I use. I want to buy a contract. I want to do a trade, and you take the trade. And it really necessarily wasn't the best one, but it looked pretty good at the time. And so you really want to be very specific about what it is that you're looking for whenever you're choosing any of these trades. So what I want to do is I want to have a certain amount of premium as a minimum that I'm going to receive when I do this trade. So before I dive full throttle into it, I was just trying to see if there was a trade right there we could do. But before I try to dive full throttle into that, what we'll do is I'm going to check one more just to see if there's a potential trade. Okay, I got my eye over here on euro dollar as well. Dollar yen, if there wasn't one. Let's see if we can find one over on euro dollar. And if there is, I don't have the signal yet, but from the way that I trade like this and this have to happen. But if there is one, that way I'll just have my strike ready. That's another big thing, is not when I see there's a potential entry, like I have a potential short on euro dollar coming up right now. If there is a potential entry, then I want to go over and maybe open that contract up and get it ready. So if that trade is a good idea, if it does line up with what I want to do, then I'm ready to go. Okay. Versus, okay, I just got my entry signal and now looking for it, and the thing's flying while I'm trying to find the contract. So, two things. One, know what contract you want and why you want it. Two, be ready before that action happens. So if it's approaching a potential hit, a trigger for your trade, be ready. Go, this is a contract. If this does happen, this is the contract I'm going to sell or buy. Don't wait to sell or to buy. Okay? All right, so now let's, like I said, just scale back a little bit and let's just talk about what a binary is and what a premium collection is. And let me pull this up for you. I got too many windows open already. Okay. All right, let's say we're over here and we're looking at Forex, and let's say we're looking at euro dollar, and let's say we're looking at current hour. Okay, so the 8 p.m. Looking at all this information, I just want to explain to you what's going on. One, there are bull spreads and there are binaries. So in this case, we're talking about binaries. You'd select the binary for that market. Then you got to choose your market, such as Forex, and then euro dollar, and then what time will the contract expire. They got 8, 9, and every hour you're gonna have a new one, but you can't see the new one if you don't hit refresh, or if you're using the scanner, it'll automatically refresh for you. But anyway, so we go in here, we got euro dollar, we got the 6 to 8 p.m., and what does all this information mean? Okay, what it means, well, right here, if I buy, and this is really simple, if you get this right here, you really basically have binaries down. So, pay attention to this next part really close. It makes everything a lot easier. If I buy this contract for $26, okay, whatever I buy the contract for, that's the offer price. Okay, that is my risk. Okay, so notice if I go in here and I choose 1, it'll say maximum loss $26.50. That's the most I can lose, no matter what, if I buy that contract. All right, so very simple. What can I make? Well, I can make up to 100. Every binary contract is worth $100. Okay, so 0 to 100. Now I could do one contract. I could do 100 contracts. Whatever. But the most, a single contract is worth is $100. And again, the price I buy it for is what I can make. So I may go up here. I may buy a contract for $5 or $8 or 32, or in this case, say 95. So we'll talk about that in a second. Now, if I buy a contract, then I am saying that the statement, now this is the most basic definition. Nadex binaries go past this, which is really cool. It's one of the biggest edges you have with Nadex. But if I buy, the most basic definition of what I'm saying is, I'm saying the market will, in the case euro dollar, expire greater than the strike price. So let me zoom in so you can see that a little clearer. Okay. 36.33 at 8 p.m. Okay, so it'll expire greater than that price at 8 o'clock. If I buy, I'm saying that statement is true. Again, see euro dollar, this is the statement. Euro dollar greater than 1.3633 at 8 p.m. So if I buy it for $39, then if I held it, remember I don't have to, okay, that's going to be the big key. If I held it till expiration, I would actually make $61 on the trade. Now that's not accounting for fees, but that is the profit that you would make on the binary contract itself. What are the fees? The fees are 90 cents a contract per side. Okay, they're currently capped at $9. So if I do one contract, it's 90 cents. If I do 5 contracts on a single order, it's $4.50. If I do 10 contracts, it's $9. If I do 100 contracts on one single trade, same price, it's $9. So it's capped. And then if I bought it and it expired out of the money, meaning it lost, it expired less than or equal to that, then there's no fee on the exit, okay, when it settles. So there's no fee if it expires out of the money. All right, that's buying a binary. That literally is pretty much what there is to it, okay? I'm saying it's going to go up. I'm going to say expire greater than. Again, most basic definition. Now, if I sell a binary, say if I sell a binary for $91, then the price I sell it for, remember when I said the price I buy it for is the risk on the trade? The price I sell it for, so it's inverted because I'm going the opposite direction, is the profit potential on the trade. So if I sold for 91, I could make $91. Because remember, the price value of a binary is 100 all the way down to 0. So I could make 91, and if it expires there at a worthless value, then I made 91 bucks. It's like selling something for $91. It goes down, and you buy it back for 0. That's settlement. So except for you don't have to buy back, it'll just settle out. So I can go in, I could sell that contract, high profit. All right, so that's that's one reason a lot of people would like to go in and do those types of trades, because they see the high profit potential on them. So once you understand, you're like, okay, now I understand how that contract works, and if I sell it, now how much could I lose? Remember, the maximum value is $100. So right now the price is at 92, so the most I could make is 92. But if it went up to, what's the maximum value? 100. So my max loss is $8. So that's a really high reward to risk ratio on the trade, which is pretty sweet. So very, very good risk to reward ratio, and that you can take advantage of on this trade if you were correct, if you were profitable. Now, there's a problem though. If you do this, the market has to move. It has to move in your favor. So in this case, it would have to expire below 36.23. If it doesn't, yeah, you only lose $9, but you lose $9, or you're doing 10 contracts, you lose 90, or you do 100 contracts, you're losing 900. It can really add up. So it has to move. If it goes up and expires above, you're going to lose. If it stays flat, it expires above, your strike, 36.23, you're going to lose. If it goes down but doesn't expire at or below 36.23, you're going to lose. Because when you sell, you're saying the statement is false. You're saying that it will not expire greater than 36.23, which means that you're saying that it will, in essence, expire equal to or less than the strike by 8 p.m. So that's why you're getting the higher payout, because it has to move. And this is usually where binary traders initially gravitate immediately towards, because they see that high payout. They're like, man, if I just put $100 in, I can make $900. That's more than I made all week, at my job. That'd be great. I'm just going to do that. And then they lose $100 because they put themselves in a lower probability trade. Okay? Whereas if I sold this binary contract above it for $28.50 or $27, $23, it's going down. If I sell this contract, then I'm saying that it will expire at or below 36.33. And check this out. It's already below 36.33. Okay? So it doesn't have to move. It could stay flat, and it'd still be below 36.33. It could move down, and I could be profitable in the trade, 36.33. It could move up a couple ticks, and I could still be profitable on the trade. All right, so there's 3 out of 4 scenarios. The only way I lose is one of 2 things, okay? Really, ultimately, the one way I lose is if it expires greater than 36.33. So it has to move up, just like if you're on the other side. If you paid $31, it'd have to move up a few ticks for you to reach that max profit, and it'd have to stay there until expiration. All right, so we got that piece down. That's how you buy, and that's how you sell. Got a great question that just popped up that really does fit into what we're talking about with it. And it's like, how does this bid and offer size thing work? What is that? Okay, bid and offer size is the quantity that's available at this millisecond. Okay, now I could take out all the contracts and they'd refresh it. Okay, but the quantity available at this second in time right here. So if I go in and let's say I'll just buy these 5. Okay, there's 5 of these for $5. Don't do this trade, okay? But I placed this order, and market moved up on me. Let's go. Let's wipe out the ones above it. These 5. And notice how it'll go to 0. Okay? So notice how there's no quote anymore. So that's the quantity available at that contract at that time. If I take out the book, which is what it's called, whenever you take out all the contracts available, they'll put more. Okay, so here within sometimes 30 seconds, sometimes a couple minutes, there'll be more contracts available. That's not how many can be. One person asked, is that how many can be bought all day? No, that's just right now, best price available, how many at that quantity. Now, also another way that it affects it is if I go in here and let's say I click on this, see they just refreshed it. Now there's 5 more available, and I bought 5. Okay, and I put in a buy for, we'll just say $5. Okay, we'll do that. Then that takes that out. Somebody decided to fill me on that. Okay, let me put a buy in here for $1. That's what I want to do. I want to do 5 of them for $1 because I had 5 for 8. So 5 of them for $1, and I want you to see what happens on the second level. So this is a good thing about demo. You can try all sorts of stuff out, see what happens. Notice how it just put a bid over for $1 because I'm saying, hey, I'll buy it for $1. Anyone want to sell it to me for $1? Okay, so I just made that contract right there. Now this is something that really messes people up because they'll see the higher bid and ask size are always going to be what's called at the money, closest to the market. So they'll come in here and they'll place an order inside. So we're going to put an order like for $25 for one contract. And watch what happens. See how we see there's 100 right there for 30? But my buy is, a better price. So watch what happens when I place this order. There's only one. And now somebody thinks there's only one contract available. But if you click on the ticket, you can see there's actually a second level where 100 contracts are available. I'm just putting saying, hey, I'll buy, which means will somebody else sell to me for $25 inside what's known as the bid-ask spread. So the they, like right now, the they is me. I'm the guy selling for $25 for one. The they also could be any other trader. The they could, who is the they, right? The other they could also be the market makers. So market maker, market makers. So whatever a market maker is somebody who doesn't know who's on the other side of the trade. That's the benefit of an exchange. That's one of the biggest benefits of trade on Nadex is the person that's taking my trade doesn't know who I am. They don't know if I'm selling at 25 to get out. Maybe I bought at 5 and I'm selling at 25 to get out. They don't know if I'm selling at 25 to do premium collection and I'm getting in. Okay? They don't know if I'm getting in or getting out. They don't know if I'm taking profit or taking a loss. They don't know what's going on. They just know there's an order there. And so a market maker is somebody who says, hey, I'm going to make sure there's a liquid market. And so they'll actually post, trades up on there. Now, a lot of people will get confused. Another thing on this whole bid-ask spread thing is they'll go in and they'll look, well, why are they offering 5 here and nothing here? Why is that happening? Well, with the bid-ask spread, this is nighttime. It's pretty wide right now. It's $7, $8, whatever. So the bid-ask spread would be like I'll sell, a sell for -3, lose $3 at the trade won. So there's no way it's below 0. $8 minus 5 is below 0. So that's why there's no bid. $5 plus 8 would be above 100. The maximum value is 100. So that's why there's no offer. Okay. And so if you understand that trick, okay, that's what's going on. That's why there's no quote there. That's that's why I only see one when usually it's 100 because if I look deeper, I can actually see more contracts. And different markets are going to have different levels of liquidity on them as well. So if we go over and we look at like daily contracts during the day, just think about are there more traders right now or is there more volume happening on the markets during the day? Well, during the day there are. You just go look at a volume chart on the S&P 500. And you'll easily see that. So if I go look over at the S&P, and I'll look at the 415s, and I'll notice that there's a lot more liquidity. Look at these like 250 contracts, and sometimes when I click on this, I'll see maybe another level with another 100. So yeah, so there's another 200 right there. And see, it looks like there's only one here, but there's one for 2150, but there's another for 250, and another one for 200. So there can actually be more depth to the market. All right, so that's a little quick bonus lesson for you on what bid and offer size are. Personally, I don't like to out trade the bid offer size of the at the money. So if the bid offer size is 100, I usually don't want to trade more than 100. Okay, and if enough of that keeps happening, you know what? The market maker wants order flow. Okay, they can't make money without making markets, and they need to get buyers and sellers on both sides. So they can buy at the bid and they can sell at the ask, and hedge off their risk, and so they'll increase their liquidity. So as demand increases, liquidity gets increased by the market makers, and of course more traders come in. So it's sort of this big circle that keeps making it better and better and better. All right, so we understand what it is to buy a binary. We understand what it is to sell a binary. We understand what happens if you hold it to expiration. If it's above it, you bought it, you make money. If it's at or below it, you sold it, then you'll make max profit. Another step that's really important on premium collection, really on any binary contract, especially premium collection, is another concept, which is when the underlying market is at, when the underlying market is at the same price as the strike. So if the market was, down here at 36.23, then this contract would be worth $50. So why? Okay, because this is actually, there's three prices you can always count on. At expiration, the binary can be worth 0 or 100. Okay? But the third thing is when the underlying market, when the euro dollar, for instance, on this case, is at the strike price, being 36.23, then this binary will be worth 50. Now, again, there's bid-ask spread, so maybe priced at 47 by 53 or whatever. But the contract itself, the mid price, the average of the bid and the offer, $50. Why is it 50? Because that is a reflection of the price of a binary is the reflection of probability. So think about it. If the euro dollar is at 36.23, there's a 50-50 chance, whether there's 5 minutes till expiration, 5 hours till expiration, or 5 days until expiration, that it's still going to be at that same price. It's a 50-50 chance. So the probability is reflected in the price. It's not an exact probability science, but that's actually what they're using. They're basing that price, what risk and payout and everything they're willing to do is based on the probability of them thinking it'll be in the money at expiration. So when you look at that, why may it not be a good idea to buy a $5 binary? Because if you buy a $5 binary, you're basically buying a binary that says there'll be a 5% probability it's going to be in the money at expiration. It's a 95% probability it won't be. Now, why would you want to buy an $86 binary? Well, because there's an 86% probability that binary is going to be in the money at expiration. So now when we got to reverse it when we sell. Okay? So 95% probability it won't be in the money at expiration. For 96% probability or 4% probability it won't be in the money at expiration. So you got to look at those expirations and the probabilities, and you don't have to make it as hard as it feels like. I know you feel like I'm making it now, but I just want you to understand this is why binary traders, they come in, they buy these $5 contracts, they sell these $95 contracts, and they wonder why they're losing over and over and over again. Okay? And so now a question comes up about the indicative or the settlement price, and what happens at expiration at 8 p.m. How do they determine whether you're in the money? Again, in the money on a buy means it settles greater than that price. In the money on a sell means it settles at or below that price. And I have a whole video that goes into settlement and all that stuff, but a quick summary for you on settlement. On futures contracts, right before expiration, okay, like the last 25 trades, right before expiration, they take the last 25 trades. It doesn't matter if there's 100 contracts or one contract. It's 25 unique individual trades. They drop the top 5 and bottom 5, and they average the middle 15. This gets rid of some pointless quote where it just jumps up and means nothing to you. Okay, it's just like a random quote that spikes all over. That's why you don't ever want to trade binaries on somebody who follows like a cash index, like the SPX, because the SPX just jumps around everywhere. It's not an actual traded instrument. So they're going to take those last 25 trades, they're going to average the middle 15, instantly assign that. On Forex, they're going to take the average 25 mid quotes, because Forex bid-ask spreads on the spot Forex market can become extremely wide. And so it wouldn't really be fair to do like the bid and the ask and the last and all that. So what they do to make it fair, due to the bid and the ask can vary so much, is they use the mid price. So the last 25 mid quotes, without having like the same quote over and over again, but the last 25 mid quotes, the average of the middle 15, is how they determine the settlement value. Now the official settlement value will be emailed to you instantly if you hold the contract expiration. You can also find it on Nadex. If you go to nadex.com/results.html, they actually list the settlement values each day. Those come up, so you can open this up, and it's a pretty big page. It'll take a minute to load, but it'll load all the contracts, all the settlements, and everything. And the next question comes up: what about this Nadex indicative price, which is a pretty helpful tool? So right up here we have this indicative, this 36.24 price right here. What is this? Is this the underlying market? No, this is not the underlying market. The underlying, now it may match, it may not match the underlying market. Okay, why wouldn't it match the underlying market? Because it's using that same formula as the settlement. It's looking at the last 25 quotes. It's dropping the bottom 5 and the top 5, and it's averaging the middle 15. Okay, so that's how they're actually determining that indicative price. It's the indicative index. Now, it's not the exact same. I want to warn you up front. It's not the exact same as official settlement, because this is charts and data can be delayed by a millisecond or two, and there's data coming through, all that stuff. I mean, there could be a little bit of difference there. So don't necessarily rely upon that as being your settlement. Your settlement's what's on the results page. Okay, but it gives you a very good estimation. It also has a pretty cool functionality. One of the things I discovered here in the last couple weeks trading that I hadn't really thought of before. But let's say I have a contract up and I'm going to sell if it breaks a tick below the low. Okay? So I say, you know what, if it breaks, the low by, if it hits 36.25, I'm going to get in. All right, let's say that's my rule. Okay, that's my trigger price. If it hits 36.25, at or below that price, I'm in. And so I'd use that as my trigger price. But what I started doing was actually looking at the Nadex indicative, because it's a little bit, you could say, delayed, because it's using the mid price. And sometimes what would happen, if you ever noticed this before, I'm sure we all noticed it, right? The market goes down, it hits your entry by a tick. I mean, you're being disciplined, you're like, when it hits this, I get in. Hits your entry by a tick and then it flips the other way. And there really was no trade volume there. It was like there's like 1 or 2 trades there, and you happen to be 1 or 2 of them on the wrong side, and then it flips and goes the other way. And I found that by using the Nadex indicative and not simply the chart. So I mean, the chart's going to help me determine my price. I'm going to use my price based on looking at the chart, but then to actually determine if it hits 36.25, I'm going to look at the Nadex indicative, because it's going to be a little bit delayed. It's basically going to require that there's, say 15 plus trades, low enough to actually get that indicative down to that price. It's like, as of right now, the euro dollar is below 36.25, but the indicative isn't below 36.25. And so now I don't have to worry about it going down, hitting my price by a tick, and then flipping back and going in the other direction. And so if you pick that up, it's pretty cool. It's basically, think about being like a little bit delayed price, like a price volume filter. Not so much like volume in number of contracts filled, but volume in number of times it hits a price. And it slows down that price a little bit for you. Okay? So, just sort of a cool little tip and trick. And, some of y'all pick that up, some of you won't. But if you think about it, it will help you a lot. And even on futures and Forex trading, I have traders and, spreads and everything, where they're going in, they're doing trades, and they're using that Nadex indicative, and it's saving them from getting into some trades where it just, like, this little spike, little market manipulation spike. And, there really wasn't any trades there, but you just happened to be like one of the 3 people that had a trade there. And so they got you before they flipped the thing back around. And, still, the price is sitting down there. So we got that. You can get the Nadex indicatives over here under this. All right, so right here under underlying indicative. And another tip for you, you can add all of them to your watch list. Okay. So I literally add, this is my main watch list. I add all of the indicatives to my watch list. And the cool feature is if you'll add it to your watch list, then you can bring up that watch list with all those indicatives in it on your phone, your iPhone, your Android, your Windows phone. Okay, so now let's go into a few more topics. Hopefully, you're starting to get the idea. Premium collection is what I'm doing. Is I'm simply saying the market is going to stay at or above this price, at or below this price. So if I think that the euro dollar is going to stay at or below 36.23, and I sell this contract right here as an example, again, example, okay? Don't want people going and throwing a bunch of money in here on demo trades. But if I say, it's going to go below that, I sell it, then as long as it stays, at or below 36.23, and this isn't like an official signal, okay, or anything like that. I just want to give you an example. Then I will be profitable as long as it stays below it. If it goes flat, even if it goes up, even if it goes way up and comes back down, I can still be profitable on the trade. The only way that I can lose is if it expires above it, or I could take a smaller loss if I got out, if it went up and hit my strike, and I decided to get out and take a little, less risk on the trade. Okay? So that's that whole. Remember when I said it gets to your strike, it'll be worth $50. So maybe 43 by 45 by 55 or whatever. So you can limit your risk on premium collection that way, and that's the number one thing I come across when traders look at premium collection. They get so scared of the high amount of risk compared to the reward. But if I can limit my risk, okay, if I can go in and buy this for $70 and get out of it for, say, 50, even 40, okay? When I have a $28 risk, like this right here, if I was going to say that the euro dollar is going to stay above 36.20 till expiration, this is a 9 o'clock expiration here, and I go in and I pick that trade, 72.50. Well, at 72.50, let's see if I bought it, 72.50, I could make 27.50, but if I got out when it basically hit $50, then I would lose about $22.50, right? If I bought for 72.50 and I sold at 50. So I don't have to take on the full risk. It doesn't mean that I don't have the full risk. I mean, it's still there if I don't do anything or if it flies real fast or whatever. But what I do know is that if it hits, the early market hits that strike, it's going to be worth $50. Okay? So before I progress, are there any questions over what I went over there on just, how does a buy work? How does a premium collection buy work? How does a premium collection sell work? Any questions on that? Because I want to get into some of the, other small tips and tricks that have helped me in premium collection, but I want to make sure that everybody's caught up. All right. Looks like everybody's good. So again, if you got questions, post them. So we talked about how to construct a premium collection binary strategy. Let's talk about how to find them. Okay, the easiest way to actually find a premium collection trade. And the easiest way you're going to do that is you can, of course, go in and you can search, high and low, look at everything. But just using the scanner is going to be one of the easiest ways. And what I'll do is I'll set, ultimately you're talking about already being in the money. Why? And when I say in the money or in the market, what am I saying? Basically, what we're saying is it's already greater, the underlying market is already greater than that price on a buy. Or the underlying market is already less than or equal to that price on a sell. So if it doesn't do anything, I'll make money. That's why it's in the money, okay? And so I can choose in the money. And that'll automatically limit all the strikes I see to ones that are in the money. And if you don't know what you're doing, if you're lost, if you don't feel like you have to master every little thing, okay, just go over here and click in the money. Okay, I know that's what I want for premium collection. They all show up. And then if I want to limit it just to the ones in the next, say 4 hours, like I'm just trading tonight, that's all I'm trading, then I go down here and I can see, here are the contracts that expire at 8, 9, and 11 o'clock that are in the money. And if I want to get rid of just, am I really going to sell a contract for $1 when it's going to cost me 90 cents to get in and 90 cents to get out? It's going to cost me $1.80 in fees. Even if I was right and the trade made money, I'd lose $1. So no, I'm not going to do that. So to get rid of stuff like that, what I do is I at least make my minimum 5, okay, and make my cap on here at 95. That'll drop out any of those trades that have basically a greater than $95 risk, or on the other side, less than a $5 risk. So we get rid of that stuff that really is completely pointless. And if I want to tighten it up more, like let's say I'm not really even interested in an $8 contract, then what I'll do is I'll go over here and I'll put in, say, $65. So now what I'm saying is, I really don't want ones that are, at 55. That's too close. And maybe I want ones that are making, have the potential to make at least $20, so that'd be an $80 risk. And now it's narrowed it down. These are the only two contracts available for me in the next 4 hours that qualify. Well, by doing this, I had to do this anyway. Remember, you would have had to been over here on Nadex, and here's what you would have had to do. You had to go, okay, I would have looked at 8 o'clock. I'd have to scan that and make sure I do hit refresh, so I always see the most current stuff. So I got to go over here. After hitting refresh, I got to hit 8 o'clock. I got to look at everything. I got to hit 9 o'clock. I got to look at everything. As that loads up, then you got to try to remember it. Got to hit 11 o'clock. I got to look at everything. Either I got to do the math or I have to open the tickets. And I have to keep them all open or add them to a watch list. All that takes time. And you can, you've seen these things move really fast. They can really move fast. Okay? And no, you can use a scanner right now. Question was the Elite scanner only in the Elite subscription? No, actually, you're allowed to use the scanner right now for free. Hop on in and enjoy it. So you can go in there and but it allows me to quickly and easily find the contract. I didn't have to click everywhere to find it. I didn't have to remember it. I didn't have to do any math. All the math is done for you right here. Okay. So it's telling me I can make $26. I have a $74 risk. Again, I could get out at $50 if I wanted to. It's at $33. I have a $67 risk. It's at $31. I have a $69 risk. So it's telling me literally how much I can make. I can even use a simulator to know what the price would be, if the price changed. And we have videos on the site that'll, if you just go up here to help, there's a whole section that explains, what it is and how to use it. And like right there, if you just click on that, it'll take you right into the forum and give you all the videos and everything. Okay. But the biggest thing for me as a trader, and I was given an example by another trader the other day. They said, this is like going to CarMax. So instead of going to 10 different dealerships and having to spend all that time and then going back and finding out the car's gone that you wanted originally, that was like 5 dealerships ago, you're able to instantly look and see every possible car that met the exact specs that you wanted. And if you wanted it, you could hit the button and make the offer on the contract. Well, that's what you can do here. Instead of having to go from here to from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. and do all the math, you just one stop, and it'll make it a lot easier for you. And we have the countdown timer on there, so how much time's left for that contract. And if you're logged in, you can see any current positions. I was just randomly throwing stuff on for examples. But you can see your positions. It'll also link up any orders. So let's say on here, let's say I had a take profit. I sold I bought that one at 72. So let's say I put in a take profit to sell it out at 95. Okay. Then make that a little bigger. What it'll do is it'll actually link my take profit up with that order and tie it in. See how it says now there's a sell limit at 95. Whereas if I go over here to Nadex, guess what? I'm looking at the open positions and the working orders, and I don't know if you've had this happen to you yet, but you will. And you're trying to match up which one did I put my take profit in for? What I bought this one. I bought 5 of these. Okay, which one is this one for? Okay, this one's for that one. Okay, so I need to make one for that one. And it can get really confusing. Whereas right here, they're all lined up, and I can literally just go in and go, okay, this one already has a working order on it. This one doesn't. And now I can just click on that and set my working order to go in. And I bought 5 at 8, so I can set an order to sell them at $20. Place that order, and now it'll link right up. So basically, it links all of my working orders with my open positions, and I can cancel any working orders as well directly off the scanner. So that's how you find them. Okay, and you can do it the old-fashioned way if you want to go, expiration shopping, and you want to remember everything and do that. That's up to you. But I guarantee they're going to move fast, and especially if you're on premium collection, maybe you're going for $20. That game can go from 20 to 5 in 5 seconds. So by the time you click and come back, you could miss out. Or you click it, you see it's right, you grab it, but maybe it wasn't the best one. I've had tons of examples where I've actually seen further strikes for more premium, sometimes even on the same expiration, especially on Fridays, because you got intraday, dailies, and weeklies coming together. Basically, a better strike that's further in the money that actually pays me more money, meaning I have a higher probability, but I actually make more money on it, which shouldn't happen, but does, and I never see that if I was just looking there. So, you can see your live and your demo trades on the same place. Exactly. Yep. Okay, so we know how to find them. We know what they are. We know how to find them. Okay, we talked about the benefits of them. So they can move in your direction, stay flat, whatever, and you can be profitable. Some important factors to consider when you're constructing the binaries. So one is, what's the strategy that you're using? Okay, I have various strategies I use. I have weekly premium collection strategies. I have daily premium collection strategies. I have hourly premium collection strategies. I even have 15-minute premium collection strategies, meaning I go in the last 15 minutes. I call it expiration premium collection. Okay, so depending upon the strategy is going to have a little bit to do with what strike you choose, your system. Okay, and by system I mean not simply your entry, but is this a strategy where you hold it to expiration or you take profit, or is it a strategy where you'll actually get out? When I'm doing an expiration premium collection, I mean a lot of times they're only 5 or 6 ticks away. And if I buy it at 80 and the thing goes to 50, I get out of the trade. Okay? Because they move really fast. They'll go from 80 to 50 to 10. I have to get out. I don't have any time for it to come back. Okay? So, in that case, part of my system would be I'm getting out at 50. Now, they move slower the longer it is till expiration. So, if I'm going to do a contract that maybe has 2 or 3 or 4 hours till expiration, then I have a little, you could say, wiggle room in the trade, because it's going to have to go all the way down to 50. So it doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, 50 is 50. But it's not going to go from 50 to 10 in like a 3-tick move. Whereas if there's only 5 minutes to go, it can go from 50 to 10. So maybe I let it go to 40 or 30. Okay, so that's part of your system. Okay, am I going to get out? Am I going to take profit immediately? Am I going to take my loss immediately? On the expiration premium collection, there's what we call, a lot of us traders call the 2-minute dark zone, and that's where the market makers pull all their quotes in the last 2 minutes before expiration. And so if I bought the thing at 70 and it's at 90, and it's 3 minutes till expiration, and I have my take profit at 95, I may just hop out of the trade, because I don't want to risk in that last 2 minutes the thing going the other way and I can't get out of the trade. So these little things are what are your factor in choosing what are you going to do with the binary when you get it. What binary are you going to choose? And of course, like I just said, timed expirations. They're 15 minutes or 4 hours or 1 day or 1 week. And then are you going to use stops or take profits or not? And one of the traders I work with on all this stuff over and over again, we've all come to talk about, is we go in and I don't know why that's messing up. But I'd say one of the biggest realizations we've come up with over the last couple of months is it's not simply the signal that your system provides, your rules. When this crosses that, when this price breaks this. The one other aspect is literally you have to choose the right binary. And so you need to know, and I can't stress, this is just personally trader to trader, okay? I can't stress how you really need to know what binary you're choosing and why. And if you don't know, then ask, okay? Hop on our forum and say, this is my strategy. You don't have to go into every little detail, but, this is my strategy, and I'm trying to figure out what the best contract is for it, what I should be looking at, what are some factors I should consider. Just ask, and I'll be glad to give you, my 2 cents on that, and, how I would choose. Now, you do with that what you want, but how I would choose, what binary I would do on that, because, we started off, like in one of the systems me and another trader recently put together, we started off choosing really close expirations, but we found out that, if we, instead of trying to go for like the one that expires in 30 minutes every time, which is what I used to do a lot on trend collection, premium collection, like basically trend trading premium collection, I'd go for like that closest expiration. We found that, if I'll add on a couple hours to expiration, I can get 10 or 20 more ticks away from where the current strike is and still get that same premium. And that time works in my favor because it doesn't move as fast against me. The time still erodes, and if I'm right and it does move in my direction, it helps me be profitable on the trade. And so it was sort of opposite of what we thought, but by moving it further out in time and still making sure we had that premium, by getting a further out strike, we actually increased how well the system was working. It required more patience. I mean, it's a lot nicer to be in and out in 15 minutes, but it yielded better results. So I can't stress how much you need to make sure that you do have the right binary. And if you don't know, just ask. And if you don't know what to ask, just try to ask. Okay. Now a bonus piece. Okay. And one person put, definitely always know why you're getting in and out of a trade. And I 100% agree. Know why you're getting in, why you're getting out, but also know, since you're adding another layer, it's not just because the euro dollar went up or went down, where it triggered my signal, but also know why you're getting into that specific. Why are you choosing that binary? Why is that the best one available? Okay? So, and the scanner helps, I made it to help myself and share it with other traders. The scanner helps you figure that out. Now, this is sort of a cool lesson. And like I said, that's something I haven't really taught on one of the Nadex webinars here before I went over on my radio show recently. And one of the questions that comes up a lot is, where do these binary prices come from? Okay? Like, what is it? And so this is going to be a little more advanced. All right? So just warning you right now. But it's not too advanced, but it is a little more advanced depending upon where you're at in your knowledge of the markets. But if you're ready for it, I'll go ahead and get started here. And it only takes a few minutes. It's not like some big presentation. It's just I just want to show you something that I recently personally discovered as I was digging into the pricing model. How do they make the prices on these binaries? And so to do it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over. We're going to look at, say, the S&P 500. Okay? And you'll see why here in a second. And then I'm going to choose the weekly contracts. Okay, so I'm on the weekly expirations of the S&P 500. And then what I'm going to do is I have another trading platform up here that lists the CME options for the S&P 500 that are going to expire this week at 4:15. Okay? And we're going to go in here and we're going to try to find a close contract. Okay, that's pretty close right there. We have an 1800.5 strike. See that? So that's our binary strike, 1800.5. And look at the price, 76 by 82. Where do they come up with that? Okay? Well, essentially what it is it's what's called a delta of a option, of like a call option. So if we look at this, and I can't really zoom in on this, but it tells us the call option that expires at 4:15 on Friday, just 50 cents off instead of 1800.5, it's 1800, is 80. So right there, right in the middle of that 76 by 82. So the price is literally what's known as delta. If you're an option trader, you'll really appreciate this. If you're not an option trader, you're like, what are you talking about? And either way, it benefits you. Why? Well, if you're an option trader, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I understand delta. And the gamma is how much the delta moves based on a 1 point change in the underlying and all this other stuff. And so you can actually start really grasping binary pricing. If you don't have any idea what delta means, what this does do for you is it lets you know that it's not somebody randomly picking a price and throwing it out there to see what sticks. Okay? There actually is a pricing formula. Okay? And in essence, that pricing formula is the delta of a call strike. I can make it go 100 times more complex, but the easiest, simplest thing is that. And if you say, well, what does delta mean? Well, delta, when you're doing a call option, means how far does the underlying market move? Okay, sorry, how much does the option price change in a 1 point move in the underlying? So the S&P 500 moves up $1. How much will that option change in price? If the delta is 81 and the market moves up $1, then the option will move up in value by 81 cents. If the S&P 500 moves down 1 point, $1, then that option will lose 81 cents in value if its delta is 81. Okay? That's what delta means. And let me give you a few things on this about, yeah, exactly. It's a Black-Scholes model. It's just the output is actually the delta versus the price of a call option. And so a few examples. Delta is always a value of 0 to 100. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like an Nadex binary? 0 to 100? A delta on a call option is always 50 when the underlying market is at the strike of the call option. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, binary is priced at 50 when it's at the strike of a call option. And if you understand this, again, I guarantee you, 100%, you do not have to get what I'm saying to trade this, okay? It's just as you get into it, for you more advanced traders that are on here, there's about 15 or 20% of you are like, I got this backwards and forwards. If you get this, it'll really help you, because what will happen is you'll start to actually understand the speed of change on the option, like what makes it change in price. And think about this. A delta has to be 0 or 100 at expiration. A binary has to be 0 or 100 at expiration. Okay? So as you get closer and closer and closer to expiration, it can't be at, 70 and 50 and all that. It has to be, 0 or 100. That's why when we go over here to, the binaries that are about to expire at 8 o'clock, well, that's not the best example. This moment, we'll go 9 o'clock. But notice how, there's like 8, 22, 65, 92, they're moving towards that 0 or 100 value. And they'll go faster and faster and faster because they have to either get to 0 or 100 within the next 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. They have to go really, really fast. Okay? And so since they have to get to that price really fast, the delta speeds up. Well, binaries speed up as they get close to expiration. Why do they speed up? Well, that's another measurement on an option, okay? And we're not going to go through all the Greeks tonight, but it is called gamma. Okay, gamma is how much does the delta change after a 1 point move. So if the delta is, the option will change, if the delta is 80, and the option on that contract right there, the delta is 80, the market moves $1, the option will go up $1. The market, or the option itself will move up 80 cents in value. Let's say the delta is 10. Then what will happen is after the market moves up $1, now the delta will be 90 because it will add that gamma of 10 to the delta. So the delta was 80, the gamma of 10, now the delta is 90. And that gamma gets bigger and bigger and bigger the closer and closer you get to expiration to drive the price to 0 or 100. So it's pretty cool when you start diving into it. And I know this is, like I said, I preempted. This is over the top. But if you're wondering just where do these prices come from, are they making it up, are they throwing it out there? No, it's coming from a Black-Scholes binary model. But the simplest model is simply the delta is that of a option that expires at the same time would be what the strike is. Now you have to know what the implied volatility is and all the other stuff, and I don't want to go into all the different equations. But something I know a lot of people have had the question on. I wanted to just throw it out there and let you learn something. Are there options on Forex pairs? Yes. If we go over, you can look at 6E right there. There's Forex futures options. You can pull up the deltas. You could look at the weekly binary right here, and we can find one that's close to the ones that are expiring. Now these are 32 because they don't have them weekly over on CME. They only have the monthlies going on, so it's not the best explanation. That's why I went straight over to S&P 500 because they have weekly expirations. But they are there. They do exist, and so if you're in the last week of FX expiration, you'll see that they'll line up. And then now, of course, you have the best thing is as far as like calls and puts on FX, is you got the spreads. The spreads are awesome. We're not really talking about those tonight, but they're essentially like a call in the sense that they have capped risk, or like a put, they have capped risk, like a bought call or a bought put. They have capped profit, but really, it amazes me people go, well, I don't know, that caps my profit. I'm like, 100 pips? How many trades do you take that move 100 pips? Okay, before you get in and out in the right direction, and 100 pips in like the next hour or two, I think we're okay. So people get all worried about that, and I'm like, well, when you can show me a trade record showing that you're grabbing 100 pips or 300 pips over and over again on spot, then you'll have an argument. But until then, maybe not. But yeah, they're really cool, and they're also great to hedge with. Let's just say you're a spot trader, futures trader, you can hedge with the spreads. So perfect for spreads. So you know how to choose the right binary contract. Or basically, you know what premium collection is. You know how to choose the right contract, and you know what to look out for. And those are the main topics I wanted to go into. I did have a question about how do I know when to choose. So do you have videos for the strategy and system for choosing high probability premium collection trades? So that's going to another step. That's going past strategy. That's going into system. okay, for actually choosing when you're going to get in. Okay, so before you can ever, this is one of the mistakes that a lot of, and I'm not even saying you're making that, but one of the mistakes traders make is they try to go straight to system, but they don't have the strategy down. So you got to have down what is the binary, what is a premium collection binary, how do I choose the best premium collection binary when I do have a signal. Once you know that, then you have strategy. Okay, it's how can I use the instrument. Then the next step is yes, you'll add on system, which is what am I going to do to choose when to implement this strategy. Okay, such as I may have, for football as an analogy, I may have a, I could do a field goal, I could do a Hail Mary, I could, rush, I could do, or what, depending upon, defense, offense. I have different plays depending upon different scenarios. I'm not going to do a Hail Mary pass when I'm 5 yards from the goal line, if I'm just 5 yards away. That just doesn't make any sense, okay? So I want to use the right strategy at the right time. So you got to know what strategy should I use, and then when I know what strategy I should use, say this is a premium collection moment. Last 15 minutes, right? So last 15 minutes is premium collection time. Now I'm going to go into system and dig into that. And yeah, I do have videos on that. So yeah, I don't use things like RSI, moving averages. They're delayed. I do one of the number one strategies I use are the deviations. So you can get access to those on our site for free as well. Or you can, if you want to, you can get the indicator that auto plots them right on your chart for you. And they're really helpful because they basically help you see when the market's bouncing. And I use volume spikes at deviation levels. So when I see a market actually bounce off of a deviation level with volume, and the volume I'll use, like if I'm trading Eurodollar spot, like if I was, Nadex is falling Eurodollar spot, I'll use the futures to do that. And so if you go in there, one of the let's see, let me find I'll pull up a chart for you. I'll show you. Let's see. Let me just grab one over here. Okay, so like right here, this is NASDAQ, but I want to grab one of my charts to show you this. Okay, so over here it moves down, and what you're seeing, it's like, what is all this? You've got like settlement, 0.5, 0.7 deviations, but I also measure a deviation high to low, because like it moved up basically 0.3 and down 0.7. And a deviation is how far the market expects the market to move. It's actually what's built into binary pricing, what's built into spread pricing, what's built into call and put pricing. The expectation of movement on a given day is actually built into the pricing. So we extract that expectation of movement, and then we plot the price levels. And so I track not only the levels, but also if it moves high to low. So this indicator down here tells me, hey, it just hit one deviation high to low. So when it went up and came back down, that was a full deviation move. That was a 70% of expected move on the day. And when I see that, and then I see a volume spike, okay, so what happened right here is the futures, in this case, the Nadex, if I pulled up the 5 and 10, 15-minute charts, we'd see volume spikes. And they're not hard, they're really easy and simple to see. I just, it makes it easy to have a little indicator that tells me on the screen. Then what I look for is I look for a break above the high of the bar after that, and then I look at a strike just below down here where I can get premium collections, so like maybe buy at 80. Okay, and I'm expecting the market to either stay flat or move back in the other direction. And I really want them at the deviation levels or one deviation moves. So I'll let it go into that and then pop up, and that's one of the strategies I use. It's very simple. You only get 1 or 2 per market a day because you're looking for a deviation move. It's obviously not going to hit a deviation move over and over again a day, but it's a pretty simple, easy strategy. The video on that one, on how to do that one, is right up here under deviation level trading system. So if you check that one out, you'll be able to find exactly what that is and how I do it. And it's one you can just implement yourself if you manually wanted to go in and plot the settlement, the deviations on your chart, and if you want to manually look for the indicators, that's a possibility. But we're we have other ways to make it easier, but we tell you how to do it. Let's see here. So that's one place to learn. Other places for premium collection, if you just go to the question forum and just type in what are the words, premium collection, then it'll bring up all posts that have premium collection results. So, and we have range bound premium collection. You'll see iron butterflies. You'll see time decay strategies. So there'll be all sorts of stuff. Double spread, Nadex strategies, EPC premium collection strategies, which is the expiration premium collection. So stuff like that is all inside the forum. So just go to the forum and type in what you're looking for. And if you can't find it, just go to the questions and go to the help desk and just submit a ticket and say, I'm looking for this, I can't find it, I did a search, and this is what I'm looking for. And we'll let you know, where whatever specifically it is you're looking for is located. So let's see here. But hopefully that, yeah, so cool. So that helped you out, Kelly. Nash, you got that down. Steve, we're good. And I think that covered that. I mean, that's one of the strategies. I have basically 4 premium collection strategies, but this is one of the easiest ones. Again, it doesn't happen a lot. Okay. We have another one we're testing right now. I've been working on with another trader for a while, and it's basically meant to make the EPCs really simple. And the EPCs being those last 15-minute trades. And, so far it's looking pretty good. We're going to keep testing it, making sure, it's consistent across multiple markets, multiple times. And, always looking for, very simple methods, like this right here, a very simple way just to go in and just take advantage of time decay. And that's what premium collection is about. So sometimes we can do it in 15 minutes, sometimes we do it over 4 hours, but either way, as long as it works more often than not and nets out positive, then that's a good thing. So, question, Steve asked, so what about if there was a volume spike? Let me throw volume on here today so you can see what I'm talking about. We go in and zoom in on it. It's like right there. Basically, this volume bar is twice these 2 volume bars. It's at the deviation level. It's twice that amount. And again at the deviation level, twice the amount. And so right here, we're looking at an entry. I have a little drawing tool. Where's that at? There we go. To buy if it breaks that high, it does that right there. Then we set, so like we buy us at the 35.04 or whatever for, let's just say $80. Okay, and I may be able to get the one that's 30 minutes away, and I can't stress this. I know I say it over and over again, but people don't hear it, so that's why I say it. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes away. It may be 15 minutes away. Great. Maybe 30 minutes away. That's fine. It may be an hour and a half away. Maybe 3 hours away. But I need the right strike. So I've seen traders go in and they just want it so bad that they'll pick that one. And then when it oscillates, maybe they did it on this and you chose this one right here. Well, it did break it, but what if it went back down in that minute? I mean, this one probably what happened is it probably went down and then shot up, so you didn't get triggered until that, so you're fine. But, give yourself some room. And if that means you got to give yourself some time, and that gives you a better probability in the trade, then awesome. Let's see here. So if there are volume spikes a considerable time after the deviation move, then they aren't necessarily the best trade to take. I like to see them when they're like at the deviation. So yeah, if I go over here and like here's a volume spike that's it's after a 1 deviation move has happened, but it's like in the middle. This isn't at a 1 deviation level. I mean it's retraced half a deviation. So that's a trade that I would not really be that interested in. So, and I'm glad because I would have lost on the trade. But one that actually moved a deviation and reversing that. And you can see them. I mean, they're all over the place. But, there's one that comes down and moves on up. And this one actually comes down back to 1 minute, all the way back down to the 1 deviation level again. Look at that right there. And then we get a spike right here. See, actually hit and broke that deviation level. And now we have our trigger. So, fire off. But, you just got to look for the right opportunities and be patient, which is difficult sometimes. But yeah, you don't just want to take like every volume spike randomly on the chart. Like you want that 1 deviation move because that's the whole reason that works or has worked. Whatever, can't say what will work because nobody knows. But the whole reason it ideally works, or the concept behind it is that is the expected movement of price. So therefore, it should bounce. Now, it may go 2 or 3 or 4 deviations, right? So I don't just want to like blindly go, I'm going to buy because I see a volume spike. or I'm just going to buy because I see a deviation. But what a volume spike is where they're basically the guys who are shorting, the big boys, shorting, and what they're doing is they're taking all their profits. They're done selling, okay? And so the market starts bouncing back up. And this works on the simple concept, I've taught this before, is the market doesn't go up because of buyers, okay? It goes up because there aren't any more sellers below the market. Because the people who are selling this thing down all morning long are taking their profits. They're done selling. So there's no more selling competition. So now the buyers are able to come in and force the thing back up. And you go to something, I mean, there's some crazy stuff. You go to gold, I mean, that thing can really spike like crazy. Today was an insane day in the gold market. Look at this thing. It's just like, well, there's a volume spike on a deviation. Went on up. But, that's obvious. I mean, if you get that kind of move, I mean, what was that? It's like 30 points, and it was a minute. It was less than a minute. But just a massive move right there. So that's where you're glad you're trading Nadex. That thing just pops, and at least your risk was capped no matter what you were doing. Let's see here. What else we got? See if we got anything else. Let's see here. Justin. I'll make this the last question. We'll wrap it up. Okay. After a V spike, you enter right after the next break of the higher low, or prefer to wait for another bar. Let me go back to the Nasdaq one because that was just a simple one. Because I've been talking about it the entire time. 40-point move days aren't quite normal when they happen in 1 minute. So my preference, the way I trade it, you trade however you want to. The way I trade it is after there's a V spike at a deviation level, then what I do is the bar basically what I look for is within 3 bars of this third bar. So I call this like bar 1. Like let's say bar 1 had 3,000 volume. Bar 2 had like 6,500. Bar 3 had 2,900. Okay, so bar 1, bar 2, bar 3. So basically bar 4 through 6, I want one of those 3 bars to break that bar's high. If they don't, I don't have a trade. Okay, if they break it, that's my buy, signal. Okay, but I want to choose the right binary. I want to give myself some room so if this thing does oscillate around a little bit, I don't just get kicked out of the trade or whatever. I want to increase my probability. So the break of the third bar is high, meaning bar 1 is the bar before the volume spike, bar 2 is the volume spike, bar 3 is the post-volume spike bar, because you don't know it's a volume spike bar until this bar happens, because the bars on both sides have to be half. So it can't just be it went up, you also have to have the one after it be low. And if you watch that video, you'll understand it really quick. But then again, 3 bars after, it, like either first bar, second bar, or third bar after, so bars 4, 5, 6, one of those has to break the bar's high. And I look at it on a 5, 10, and 15-minute chart. I look at all 3. So at the same time. As you'll notice over here, like you'll see like 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute. So this just makes it easier, so I don't have to have 3 charts open or 3 volume charts open. So it's just telling me every time there was a spike on that time frame. So I'm watching all of them at once. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up because this can go on forever and it's fun. I love doing it, but I know some of y'all you don't want to feel like you want to miss anything, so you're staying on and you want to get back to your families and everything. But I hope you all have a great night and a great week. And if you have questions, please don't be shy to ask them over in the forum. Don't worry about, looking smart or looking stupid, okay? Just worry about learning and becoming a better trader and post your questions. And be glad to help you out. All right, well, y'all have a great evening.